Hello, everybody, and welcome to Breezing with Bierman. The great Adam Bierman is off tonight, and tonight we have one hell of a show. We have the great Drew Stone, the great Drew Stone in from New York City, along with Michael Lago, who will be joining us shortly. Drew Stone's a filmmaker. He specializes in documentaries. He's made great films like All Ages, The New York Hardcore Chronicles. He's got one coming out on Muhammad Ali. And the main event of today is his recent film, the documentary of Michael Lago. Who the bleep is that guy? And he'll be here shortly. But Drew, welcome to Princeton.
Thank you.
Welcome to Breezing with Bierman.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me, Bierman, even though Bierman's not here.
Yes, Bierman's attending to some family issues. So tell us. You have films. You've been doing films for a while now, and right now we are currently playing the New York Hardcore Chronicles. What I got to ask you, because I made my own documentary called Pennsylvania Hardcore, and that took. How do you put 90 minutes into trying to do a total history? You had a big beast here, and I'm sure you could have made your documentary way harder. How did you go about putting it together, and how did you go about basically saying this is what I got to represent it? Like, how'd you put it together?
Well, with this particular film, the New York Hardcore Chronicles film, it's not the history of New York hardcore. It's really, it's shot in an episodic format. So I avoid that whole, to do the history of New York hardcore, I'd probably need 6 hours or something like that.
You need volumes.
So really, it's really about the community and the culture. And the way the film is set up is, it's really episodes and segments. So sort of, and it's all very random. So this is sort of like if there was, like a deck of cards. If there was 50 segments, and I kind of shuffled, the deck and sort of, dealt like 6 or 7 cards, 6 or 7 episodes, and that's kind of what it is. So it's not, historical in a sense like that. It's sort of it goes all over the place with the thread of New York hardcore running through it. So that's how I approach that, and in that regard, this is a film that could go on forever, or not forever, but for a while. But eventually I had to wrestle it into a feature film format, and that took a little while. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people from the hardcore scene watching this and probably already seen it, like I have. But for anyone else who wants to watch this movie right now, how do they go about seeing it?
Well, the New York Hardcore Chronicles film is on iTunes and on Amazon and a lot of those platforms, Vimeo or YouTube and all those platforms. But iTunes is really probably a good way to see it. The DVD is also available at www.thenewyorkhardcorechroniclesfilm.com. And the DVD's available, and there's merchandise there like T-shirts and sweatshirts, and some of my other films are available. So the film's been out since May of 2017, and it's been a real nice run. Over the summer I did a bunch of screenings all over the world, and people love the film, so it's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
You also have one coming out. I saw the trailer on Muhammad Ali.
The Ali film is interesting. My dad was a filmmaker. And my dad did a Muhammad Ali documentary in the 70s called Me We. Mm-hmm. And it's a short documentary film about Ali. Doesn't really take place in the ring per se. It's more about his lifestyle at the time, and kind of him in his training camp, and in his relationship with kids and the public, and sort of like a lifestyle film. And my dad did it, and it ran on HBO in 1977, I believe. Like 8 times when HBO was like a box that you press a button, So it ran about 8 times in 1977, and then it went into a draw for 40 years. Oh. So at a certain point, my dad gave me the film, and I took the film and I did a new film to tape transfer, and we color corrected it, and we did an audio mix, and we're looking to get it out there, and based on the success of this film and my other film that we're going to talk about in a little while, the distributor was interested in what else that I had, and sports films do very well on iTunes and things like that. So struck a deal for the Ali film. It's called Me, We, and we're doing a screening in New York in January, and with former Mayor David Dinkins, hopefully. And, just getting that out there. So I sort of regurgitated the film, and, it's like from executive producer Drew Stone. I'm like the impetus behind getting it out. So it's cool. Looking forward to my dad's, film seeing the light of day again. So, yeah.
That's great. And since from, the sun, they keep bringing it alive.
Yeah, and it's nice that, based on the juice of my other films and that they're doing well, I could get that out.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah.
And you were briefly telling me you were looking to do another one on Rockabilly Band?
Yeah, I'm gearing up to do a Rockabilly film with one of the guys from the Stray Cats, Slim Jim Phantom.
Awesome.
That's in pre-production now, just trying to get it rolling. Kind of I don't want to say the history of Rockabilly, but kind of like Slim Jim walking us through, the Rockabilly world, and so that should be,
Sounds good.
just trying to get that going now, and just trying to start that odyssey now, which, usually these films take a couple years to do. So gearing up to do that.
So I personally got a question for you because I made my own documentary and I did one and I was done.
Yeah.
And I realized there's a lot of people when you do these topics that a lot of hands involved, and sometimes you're on punk rock time. Sometimes you got people that are right there, and then you others got like, yeah, I'll get you tomorrow, and you can lose. How did you do this many times? Because I don't know how your head didn't explode.
How did I make so many documentaries?
How did you make? Yeah, especially the music scene. Like you had all ages, and then you had this one.
Well, I come from I'm a musician. Initially, I sing in one of the original New York hardcore bands, a band called Antidote. I came up in the New York hardcore scene, and then I had a career doing music videos. Did a lot of the early hip hop music videos in New York, and then, went on to do a lot of hard rock and metal videos. And after that, I had another career doing extreme sports films. Okay. I did all the Urban Street Bike Warrior films, and I directed the MTV True Life episode, I Live to Ride, A True Life, yeah. So when it came time, I did the XXX All Ages XXX, the Boston hardcore film, and that took a few years to get out. And then I started the Alago film, which we're going to talk about, and did the New York hardcore film at the same time.
Wow.
And it's just it's just in my wheelhouse right now. Music docs are what I do, and what I enjoy doing, and what I do well right now. So that's really, and I must say that I learned a lot from doing these two films, and I'm bringing that into my next project. Just about how business and creative wise, it's like, you live and you learn, and you bring that on to the next project, So I'm excited about doing the next thing. Awesome. I learned a lot, I got knocked around doing these.
And you got to be flexible on your time too, because someone could be like, I'm ready to get interviewed now, and you got to kind of be on the clock 24/7.
Yeah, there's a whole ebb and a flow to these things. Some people you chase around for a year.
Yep.
And some people, already, right there in that moment, you just sort of have to juggle it and, figure it out. But that's part of the, and also like I'm one of the last of the truly independent filmmakers. Yeah. So I don't have a production infrastructure around me per se. Mm-hmm. It's basically a lot of it. I do like these interviews that we see here in this film, and also in the Alago film, it's really just me and the person, me interviewing the person. I don't like to have a large camera crew. Uh-huh. I own a camera, I have a lighting package, whether it's this guy, Randall Underwood, or the Metallica guys, I like to set the camera up and be in the room with them by myself.
Gotcha.
And, that's kind of how I do it. And I like to feel that intimacy comes through, in the films, So that's how it works for me. I think I would be uncomfortable being in a room interviewing somebody with a whole bunch of people. I think even if I was doing bigger budget things and I had a whole crew of people, I'd probably make them get out of the room. Because
your comfort zone.
I just don't, I just think it's sort of awkward to be like, okay, we're going to do something totally unnatural, but I want you to act natural. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel that when it's just me, even us right now, it's just you and me in this room.
Yep.
And there's a sense of intimacy to it. and I think that carries through in my films.